welcome to The Reasons I'm Broke. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelli.
And last week we didn't have a podcast, but this week we do have a double-sized podcast where we talk about 2 movies, last week's comics as well as this week's. And we got a couple of video games as well that we're going to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and mix things up a little bit. We'll talk about last week's comics first, but I'm going to start off with IDW's Star Trek The Next Generation and Doctor Who. If you've been following this one, the Borg and the Cybermen have been working together. At this point, the Cybermen have betrayed the Borg, and now the Borg seek help from the Enterprise crew as well as Doctor Who and his crew. And in this last issue, this would be issue number 6, the Doctor finally convinced Picard that they should work together with the Borg, whereas Picard was at first apprehensive about it because he was a Borg at one point. But now they've actually gone and talked to the Borg. They've come up with a plan. The Cybermen kind of figured out that the Borg do have a weakness that they were able to exploit, and they did. And now the Doctor actually went back in time to the point at which Picard was assimilated, and that's kind of where the book ends, but I still think that the Borg are not to be trusted. Maybe it's because I don't watch Doctor Who, but I'm a big fan of Next Gen, so I'm going to be on Picard's side all the way. That was the indie for last week that we got. Moving on to DC, Batman the Dark Knight number 13.
This was an awesome issue. It continues the Scarecrow line, correct? I'm not mixing up my comics again. It continues the Scarecrow story, and you see more of Scarecrow's background, the new origin that they've created within this new 52, which I think is a pretty good origin for him. It makes a lot more sense than he was just a professor in college and just enjoyed fear. And you get to see some of Batman's fears, and it was definitely got to pick this one up, guys. It was really good.
If anything, just for seeing that inner side to Batman, how he really feels about his son Damian, how he is ashamed that he can't call him a son out in public, how he can't get close to anyone that he loves. I mean, there's some really good stuff here. It's definitely better than the other stuff that they did with the Bane and when they mixed up the White Rabbit. This is good. And then you also got the Mad Hatter coming up. But this issue, it looks like the next issue after this, number 14, will end, and Batman will escape the Scarecrow's clutches. iVampire number 13. It introduces Deborah Dancer. And at this point, he is evil, right?
Correct. What he did in, I guess it was the last issue, is in order to wipe out the mad vampire apocalypse, he sucked all the vampireness into himself. So all the vampires are back human again. Him and the girl that he turned right afterwards are the only vampires left in the world. And he's kind of gone mad with evil and crazy. And
his girlfriend is now human and a lot more relatable now. She's a likable character. I really like her. When they're together and they're actually working, she's not as bad. I think he was what kept her from going too mad with power and trying to take over. Now that she's human, she's not helpless. That's what's kind of cool about it. There's a scene where there's a man trying to, I guess, mug her or something, and she obliterates this guy, puts a wooden spike right through his head and through his fucking mouth. It was crazy.
I really enjoyed the turn that they did where you went from really liking Bennett is his name.
Yeah.
And then just a 180, I'm sorry. 180, and now you're just like, oh, he's this terrible person, but his girlfriend's pretty cool.
If she stops Bennett, there's got to be that line from Commando. Let off some steam, Bennett. So Talon number 1, and we were talking about the Court of Owls, how much we like it. I do like Calvin Rose. I think he's an okay character. Number 0 was a better issue than number 1. Number 1, this is basically Talon Beyond. It is Batman Beyond with Talon. What happens is there's a man that used to be a part of he was hunted down by the court because he knew exactly who the members of the court were made of, and he had a book that had all that information, all of which were destroyed except for his copy, and he got away. He left to Europe, and now Calvin Rose is one of the members that actually got away as well. So he's saying, we both want the same thing. I'm going to give you this suit, and I'm going to follow you from this computer from the Batcave, or rather the Owl Cave, and he's an old man, kind of looks like old man Bruce. I don't know. There wasn't really anything compelling to this.
I'd give it another issue or 2. I did like number 0 a lot, but I don't like the turn that they took where, they pretty much made it Batman Beyond, and that works great when it's Bruce and you really like Bruce, but this guy was just okay, you're trying to be Bruce. You have all this technology. How'd you get it? We don't know.
Yeah, so that'll be my pass from last week, I think.
Yeah, probably mine as well.
On the Marvel side for last week, we got Ultimate Spider-Man from the Marvel Universe #7. That's the one based on the cartoon. Drawn by Ty Templeton. I don't think he wrote any of the stories in here, but he did do this really cool cover where Spider-Man's being like
molested by zombies.
molested by a bunch of goblins and zombies and monsters. But this was like a Halloween issue. The issues before this were pretty good. This one was kind of ridiculous. I understand it's a Halloween issue, but one of the stories involved a ghost living in a locker and him trying to come to terms with the ghost to stop scaring
right, and it wasn't
kids.
Even because it has the two stories. And the first story I liked because they explained it in a logical way why all these creatures were around. Which I think is good because Peter Parker is a scientist as well. He's going to try and look for, okay, why is this happening? But in the second issue with the ghost, she's like, nope, well, I guess it's a ghost and he lives in my locker and hey, ghost, you should help these people out. Like, no, why is he there? He suffocated in the locker and nobody found him for like months, so he died? What is this?
The first story was pretty good. Was better than the second one, I think. It was still not that good, but it
looks great in comparison to the second one.
Yeah, it's about a kid in a hospital bed trying to say goodbye to his father, so he used his...
Right, his father was a horror movie film star, and so he's in the hospital, high security hospital, in a coma after a car accident that killed his father. And meanwhile, on Halloween night, all the monsters that his father had played are coming to life and coming from the TV and all heading towards his room, and it turns out that he's a psychic just trying to say goodbye to his dad.
Yeah. So you probably skip on that as well, I think. Marvel. It's a Halloween issue. Usually those aren't anything too special. Really, really fun issue. A-Babies versus X-Babies.
It was adorable. It was so cute. There's not a lot of content to it, I would say. It's just them being cute, running around in footy pajamas, trying to get Bucky Bear back, which Cyclops stole, the jerk. But it was a really, really cute episode. I would absolutely pick it up.
Yeah, this one was written by Scotty Young, who I love. He did a lot of the Wizard of Oz books for Marvel. Mm-hmm. And, of course, he did the Human Torch and the Venom books as well a couple years ago. It was drawn by, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, Gurihuru. And the cover was done by Scotty Young as well. It is only a one-shot, unfortunately, but I would love to see more of A-Babies versus X-Babies. This issue alone was better than all of Avengers versus X-Men. Bart Simpson, #76, and we also got Maggie, #1. Both of them were Simpsons issues by Bongo Comics. The Bart Simpson one, if you have to pick one, go with the Bart. Mm-hmm. The Maggie was okay, but Maggie's like the genius, right, of the Simpson family. In a way, like I know Lisa's smart too, but Maggie's always very observant. She knows what's going on with the family, and in the comics especially, they make her out to be like this mastermind in a way. She kind of, at one point, gets Bart in trouble because he took away the television and changed the channel. So she writes El Barto on the wall, blames it on Bart, and then she has the television to herself. Like it was okay, but overall, there's not much to this issue. There's not much writing. It's very simple. It's not very funny. Bart Simpson, on the other hand, has a great opening story where he wants to try to get everyone out of school. So they try to get the students to sell, what was it, candy bars?
Yeah. You know those things they always have at school where they're like, sell all these candy bars and we'll give you 5 stickers or something like that.
Yeah. So he hacked the microphone and made it so that the guy said that whoever sells the most candy bars gets like $10,000 or something. So the kids are running around town. Lisa makes Bart feel guilty about what he did, so he goes and follows all the kids and tries to stop them by any means, like stopping on their candy or I think he used like a water hose at one point to ruin one kid's chocolate bars. But it's a good story. I recommend the Bart Simpson #76 over the Maggie #1.
Next we have Adventure Time #9. This is the one that completed their time travel escapade, I guess you would call that. I love Adventure Time. I love the little notes at the bottom. We say this every time one comes out. Definitely pick this up, guys.
Always better than the show, Adventure Time #9. We're not going to talk too much about this one because you have to read it. It's a really good ending. and it was really funny.
Well, and one of the things I love too is, I don't know if any of you had seen the Adventure Time pilot, but the writers actually make fun of an error that they had made in the pilot and go back and they're like, yeah, this is why it's that way, because of these guys going back in time.
Yep.
And it was really funny. It's great, guys. You have to pick it up.
Moving on to Bravest Warriors #1. I don't believe this show has aired yet, but the comic book did come out. I don't believe this is just like a retelling of the show. It didn't seem like it was. It looked like an original story. It was pretty good, I think.
I'm going to go with this one as my pick of that week. For an opening, you really got a feel of all the characters. They had some really funny lines. One of my favorite, just as an example, the characters are watching horror movies, and the girl is putting in her movie, and she goes, well, I hope none of you are pregnant, because this is going to scare the babies out of you, and then you'll have to give up on all your hopes and dreams. Like, it was really funny. It's my pick just because it's brand new. I thought they did a fantastic job explaining what they were doing. And they made it funny, and it's definitely more adult than I expected it to be.
Absolutely. A lot more adult than Adventure Time. There's more writing to it. There's more for your mind to really get through. And I think it's worth the $4, the $3.99 that they're charging for it. Adventure Time has that same price, and you get a lot of really funny moments in it. Mm-hmm. This is more about the story. It's more about the characters. Bravest Warriors #1, recommended. And moving on to this week's comics, start off with Marvel. The one we got this week was, again, Ultimate Spider-Man, except it's from the Ultimate Universe line, the main one with Miles. This one was issue 16.1. It's part of their .1 line. And what was interesting about this is there's a new reporter at the Daily Bugle, and she's watching over this video of Miles and his uncle, the moment his uncle dies. And he says something like, "You're just like me." Right? So she kind of connects the dots and says, you know what, that Spider-Man who was unmasked for a moment, he's African-American as well. So she says he must be related to this man that's dying. I believe his uncle's name is Aaron. So she does a little investigation and follows his family around, the Morales family. And when she sees Miles' father, she says, that must be Spider-Man. That's got to be Spider-Man. So she takes the story to J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is a story. I'm going to be rich. This is it right here. I know who Spider-Man is. He reads the story and he's like, no, you have no evidence behind this. This is all hearsay. She says, no, this is it. I mean, it's as obvious as can be. They worked together. They were related. They were brothers. That has to be the Spider-Man. And he says, and what if it is? We only have one superhero out there. The old Spider-Man died. All you're doing is ruining this man's life, regardless of whether or not he really is Spider-Man. If he's not, you ruin
his life for nothing.
For nothing, exactly. And I thought that right there, the character of Jonah, completely changed after the death of Spider-Man, and for the better, I think. He learned to respect the superhero, the Spider-Man, and you really see that in 16.1. If anything, just for that, 16.1 is highly recommended. Ultimate Spider-Man number 16.1. Big reveal at the end. I'm not going to spoil it, but we do have the return of a villain. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 15. Another good issue, another introduction to another villain. You'll see by the cover who it is. The entire time, you kind of get the origins of this new turtle. I guess it's not necessarily the fifth Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, but it is an experiment. It's a new origin to him. At the same time, the Turtles are trying to find a way, or a new place, a new place to actually stay at, because their old one from the last issue, it was completely destroyed. They were compromised. They found this, I believe, this old church where they're going to stay in the basement, but I mean, the fifth turtle finds him, and that's kind of where the issue ends. TMNT, really good. Also, the annual came out as well, which was drawn and written by Kevin Eastman, completely in black and white. That one, I believe, is a little bit more, though. That one's $8.99, but you get a lot of story for it.
Next, we have Batman Beyond Unlimited number 9. 3 stories in one. Don't know that there was one that I didn't like. I thought they were all really good. They continue to do a great job with this series.
I think my least favorite of the 3 stories was the middle, with the Justice League fighting the Cobra.
Yeah.
Not too much happened. It was all planning and then fighting, and that was it. Whereas the first story was Luthor and Superman stopping Luthor and his daughter.
The end of that one, though, with the reveal of my favorite guy with the Cobra.
Oh, that was the second story for the second story? Yeah, that was pretty cool. There's a cool reveal to the second one.
that made me happy. And then I love the Batman Beyond. I love Dustin Nguyen's art. So.
And for the third story, any Nightwing fans, you should read it just for that. The third story.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I believe Nightwing, what was he in Hush Beyond, right? Because Hush was a clone of Nightwing, from what I remember.
Yep.
It was pretty cool.
That was a good one, too.
Superman Family Adventures #6, another really good issue. I mean, none of these issues have been bad. You got Metallo in this one, and you got Steel. So 2 more characters. You get kind of the origins of both.
Kind of. Like, oh, I'm going to be this guy now.
Yeah. And it's good stuff. Art Baltazar and Franco, they're a great team.
Mm-hmm.
Always recommended. Good for kids, good for adults.
And finally, Batgirl #1.
It's the annual, yeah.
Oh, Batgirl Annual #1. This is my pick of this week. This was really good. It's called The Bat, the Cat, and the Owl. And it features another, I guess, a female owl.
Yeah, female Talon, yeah.
Female Talon. And Catwoman and Batgirl and how their stories tie together, where Catwoman's hired to break this Talon out of jail, but Batgirl still has to stop another Court of Owl member that's running around, and it was really, really good. I don't want to give too much away because it was so good.
Yeah, the artwork looked really nice. It's definitely different than regular comic book artwork, and the writing was really good. Gail Simone doing a great job still with the Batgirl.
They did even, for example, the Talon never speaks, and she gave her so much personality and so much of a story.
Yep.
And she never says a word. Catwoman, you get more of her personality, which is much better than any of the Catwoman comics, I feel.
Yeah.
And Batgirl, it was amazing. It was a great episode.
I thought Gail really, really could handle Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
She did a really good job handling her, and you get a really cool appearance too from Commissioner Gordon at the very beginning. Recommended. Batgirl #1. If you like that Talon, you'll see more of her in Birds of Prey, I believe, is what they were saying.
Yep.
I think might be a better Talon than Calvin Rose.
I agree.
We'll see what they do with her. On the video game side, for the Kinect, we did have Marvel Avengers Battle for Earth come out. Also, Assassin's Creed 3 for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. I will mention also that the Marvel Avengers Battle for Earth will come out for the Wii U as well. And also on the Vita side, Ragnarok Odyssey. What is it, a week and a half out now? Mm-hmm. Assassin's Creed 3, I got to play some of it. It's a lot of fun, the opening. It's a little bit slower. A lot of people have been complaining about the opening. I kind of like it. You open up in like an opera scene where you take down one of the members that you were hired to assassinate. While this is going on, you got this opera scene behind you, and you're sneaking around in the I don't know what you call it, where you
the boxes.
Yeah, outside the boxes where they can't see you, and it's a cool scene, cool opening scene. You make your way to Boston. You kind of once you get to Boston, you do a couple of smaller missions, but I don't think it's been slow at all. It's been a good game so far. There are a lot of glitches. There's been a lot of moments where I'll be talking to a character, and the main character will be moving, his mouth will be moving, but then whoever I'm speaking to, like the ship captain, this is what happened for me. His model was just completely like at a standstill. His mouth wasn't moving, only his body, and I don't know if anyone else has had this or if it's just something that happens randomly. I've also had a couple characters after I assassinate them go through like a piece of wood, like a wooden fence there. He kind of seizured up, where the graphics were on the body were just kind of going all over the place. It was like a necromorph after I'd killed him in Dead Space. And finally it just kind of got stuck in between and died there. And I know that there'll probably hopefully be a patch out for it, but just a warning, if you're not planning on getting Assassin's Creed right away, that's one reason to wait out for it. Wait for a couple of patches for some of these glitches. There's a ton of times where I'll be doing a mission and I'll just kill one or two of the guys and there's still plenty of people on screen, but it'll just cut to the end of the mission like I killed all of them. And I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure I left like 5 guys right next to me that were all in a circle, but I guess it's just going to cut to the end of the scene, and I guess that's the end of the mission. So there are a lot of glitches in it, Assassin's Creed 3, but overall a pretty fun game, great atmosphere. Especially for Assassin's Creed, it was time for a little bit of a change, and they did it for the better. And you meet Benjamin Franklin, right, as soon as you get to Boston, which is awesome. Benjamin Franklin is the shit.
Another game that came out, if anybody's a Harvest Moon fan, we had Harvest Moon for the 3DS that just came out. If you pre-ordered at GameStop, you got this awesome yak. It's the coolest thing ever. He now is chilling with my cow and my pig and my chickens and my duck. I like a lot of Harvest Moon. Haven't played a whole lot, maybe only about half an hour between work and everything. So jury's still out. I don't like what they've done with the graphics. They made it very, very 3D. This game did not need 3D. It just makes me sick to run around, and when you're talking to somebody, their picture appears and it's in gorgeous hand drawn, and I wish they would have done the whole game like that. But supposedly you can do a lot more customization with this game. You can harvest crops anywhere in your farm rather than just designated areas, and I'm hoping it'll be really good, so I'll let you know as I continue with that, my thoughts on it.
And you've been playing some more Pokemon as well, right?
Not a whole lot, again with work, and last week was hectic and everything.
Yeah.
But I've played a little bit more. It's getting tough now. That stupid world tournament, whatever it's called, was the worst thing in the world. I can't tell you how many times I cussed and turned it off. And
yeah, there's this part of the game where you enter this world tournament with your rival and a couple of your friends, and you have to beat that to advance in the story. Now, the problem with this is Kelli has battled every single trainer up to that point, because it's Pokemon, you've got to grind. Mm-hmm. And it's much easier to grind with a trainer than it is with like a wild Pokemon. You don't get any experience out of this tournament, so if you're losing to these guys over and over again, it's not like you're at least getting better like the Elite Four, where you're going to lose your first time and you're going to eventually come back with a ton of revives and hyper potions, and hopefully your Pokemon will be stronger after losing to the first Elite Four member and you can get on to the next one. No experience points for this. You're kind of stuck there.
Yes, and you have to, because I was like, oh, well, forget this, I'll just go to the next city. This is just one of those little things they show you how to do, but you don't really have to do it. And I go to the next city, and they're like, oh, can't go any farther till you beat them. Those you assholes. I hate this. I got so mad, because you can only have 3 Pokemon, and they only have 3 Pokemon. But you can't, it's terrible. It's the worst thing in the world, and I finally beat them. And it's kind of, I guess it's their version of the game corner in this game, because you get points. You get battle points for winning, and then once you have a certain number, you can buy things. So I'm like, cool, I beat 3 people. I guess that's 3 battle points, whatever. And then I come out, and they're like, here's your 1 battle point. Like, you son of a bitch, this is the worst thing. It was the worst part of the game for me.
Yeah.
But it's getting tougher. All my Pokemon are at level 30, and I'm having a hard time keeping up. I haven't had too much trouble since the first gym leader with his stupid big Yorkie dog, whatever. So I haven't had too much trouble since then with the gym leaders, but it's getting tough. I'm gonna have to resort to going in the grass a lot and fighting those guys. And this guy here keeps tempting me. He's like, you want some level up help?
I've got some ×8 XP.
See, he keeps doing this. You want that Lapras? I can get you that Lapras.
Whatever level you want, I'll get it.
It's terrible. No. But hopefully I'll find some time this week, put in 3 or 4 more hours, beat another gym leader. I did beat the Rock gym leader, and then he took me down to that stupid tournament, so I hate him. I did run into Team Plasma again. You have the X Team Plasma, which is good, and the new Team Plasma, which is bad.
Right. They're like the Team Rocket, just trying to take over the world.
Right.
They trying to get the legendaries.
They follow that evil guy, Gessis, or whatever his name was, from the first one. And he just wants to take over the world, and X-Team Plasma is following in, who's like, no, let's just chill with Pokemon. So anyway, I ran into them, and they took me to their house, and they gave me a Pokemon, which is Inns. So now I'm raising it for In, so that he'll love me again.
What's the Pokemon, Zoroark or something?
Yeah, something that I haven't used him. He just sits in my party.
Yeah, they were like, hey, Daniel, would you please raise N's Pokemon? I was like, yeah, I'll totally raise that thing. Grabbed it, threw it in my PC.
Box. See you later, bye.
I should have released it.
That's terrible.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trade it over to my Black and White 1 for a better Pokemon.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and you know that Pokemon you were raising for a while? Yeah, now I've got this level 100, I don't even know what I'm going to trade it for.
Sold it to the Pokemon sex slave market. Just the worst possible thing.
I'm going to go get my Aggron.
No, I'm actually raising it. Well, sort of. He's only battled once. But I'm going to keep him, and I'm going to love him so that In will love me.
We also saw a couple movies this week. Argo, with directed by Ben Affleck and starring Ben Affleck as well. It is the story of a bunch of journalists that were...
in Iran.
Were they journalists?
No, they worked for the U.S. Embassy.
Okay.
in Iran.
Yes.
And then I guess at the time, it's based off a true story, Iran had a crazy dictator who got cancer, so the U.S. gave him asylum. And the people of Iran just went crazy and
because they hated that leader.
Right.
Yeah.
And said, turn him over to us.
We'll hang him.
Right, because he did all this stuff to us. We want to hang him. We want retribution for this. So they just started killing U.S. citizens. And it opens with the embassy coming under attack. They just go in and capture everybody. And those five characters escape. They go to the Canadian ambassador's house. He's the only one who will house them. And so it's kind of their rescue mission story.
Yeah, Ben Affleck is in charge of getting those 5 people back. So the reason it's called Argo is the name of this movie that they are pretending to make with John Goodman and the director as well. And that's the name of the movie. It's like a ripoff of Star Wars. And they want to film in Iran, so that's their excuse to going there and then having the 5 Americans pretend to be Canadian film crew. You know, a producer, a writer, a director, a cameraman. They want to sneak them back in with fake passports and everything. It's a really good movie. Really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I thought Ben Affleck did a great job directing it. He did a good job in the movie as well. And they do this thing during the credits where they actually show you who everyone was and what they actually look like in comparison to the makeup in the movie. And I thought they did a pretty good job making them all look like their real counterparts, except for Ben Affleck, who didn't really look Hispanic or like that.
Like that guy was. Yeah, they did a fantastic job. It was a great movie.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
It was funny. Argo, fuck yourself.
It was good. And John Goodman's always great to see.
John Goodman, enough said. Watch it. We also saw Cloud Atlas. Mm-hmm. If you want to talk about that first, I know you liked it a little bit more than I did.
I think I did. I want to see it again because there was just so much going on. It's 5 movies in one, but it's one timeline, and they're essentially just 3 characters.
Yeah.
Is up through different lives and different points in their lives, and it's constantly jumping and switching, and it's so difficult to keep up with, but I really enjoyed it. I was actually trying to sit down and write out a timeline. Okay, so who was who in here, and it didn't work. So I needed to see it again, but it was great. You had, the earliest one was the 1860s.
Was that the one with the ship?
Yes, with the ship, and it's back in slaves, and it takes place, a guy from Britain, is that where he was from, coming over to the U.S., and he makes friends with a slave. And the slave ends up saving his life from, I forgot his name, Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks plays a doctor that's slowly poisoning the main character in this story so that he can get this key around his neck to get into this treasure box. You know, there's a conclusion to that at the end. Next one in the timeline, I believe, was the one with the old man that gets locked in the asylum. No,
the next one, that was 2012.
Oh, the gay couple then.
Yes, that one was one of my favorites. It was so sweet. It opens with 2 guys in bed with each other, and somebody's banging on the door, and they're like, oh shit, we gotta go! So one of them gets dressed and runs out, and that particular one is trying to become a composer.
Music composer,
Music composer. So it's them writing letters to each other, and those letters actually transcend into the 70s.
Yeah,
which
the 70s.
Which is the next timeline, with Halle Berry, which I thought she did a great job in those particular scenes.
And you got Shaft in that. It's a guy that looks exactly like Shaft.
And then after that one, you have, it's called Neo Soul. No, you've got 2012 with the old man, which was precious. It was him. He asks his brother for some money because he gets into not some debt, but he has...
He makes a lot of money off of a very shady character that ends up in jail, and that guy's family comes after him, all his brothers, and they're like, hey, you made all this money off of our brother. Where's his cut? And he's like, well, in the contract it states this. And he's like, the law doesn't apply to us. We want money. What do they ask, like 50 grand or something? 50 grand.
So anyway, the guy goes to his brother to try and get the money. And his brother's like, you know what? No. I'll get you the money, but we're going to hide you out for a little while. Go to this hotel over here, far away. And he goes and he checks, and it turns out to be an asylum for old, insane people.
That he owns.
That he puts a lot of money into. Because his brother had slept with his wife And so he's
Years
like,
ago, yeah.
take this.
So that has its own resolution, him trying to escape. And then you have the kind of futuristic one.
Right, Neo-Seoul, which is Korea in, oh, what did they say? It was like 2340.
No, it wasn't that far. This is the problem I have with some movies. It was like only 2133 or something like that.
Really? I thought it
wasn't that far in the future. And some movies do this all the time. They're like, in the year 2100, there's going to be this. And they show like this city that's all futuristic with flying cars. I'm like, there's no way we're going to be anywhere near that. Like, I know technology is moving quick, but it doesn't move that quick. Now, if it said like, I don't even know if this is soon enough, like 2,600 something, I'd be like, okay, that's kind of believable, you know. But anyway, yeah, it's this future.
That was my favorite story. It talks about, I guess they fabricate girls to work in restaurants. It takes place over a particular restaurant, and they fabricate these women to work there, and it's about this guy comes and breaks one of them out because she's going to be the savior of everybody. And they fall in love.
She's going to tell the truth. She's going to, they're going to expose what's actually happening. They clone these women to work in these restaurants after, 16 years?
12 years.
12 years. They go to ascend or whatever. They think it's like a freedom of sorts to actually join everyone else. Because they don't understand what that is. They get cloned, I believe, at adult age. I don't know if they didn't really say if they raised them, but I thought it was just adult age.
Adult age, yeah.
But what they don't realize, and this is a spoiler here, to feed all the people and all the clones, they kill them, these people that ascend these after the 12 years, and then they butcher their bodies up and turn them into food. Because in the future, the world is overpopulated, and they turn them into liquid and to protein, which you drink, and they feed them to these workers as well. And that's kind of the truth that they want to expose to everyone. And that ties into the last story, which is it takes place on another planet, right? It's still on Earth. He got away from Earth, right?
I think it's still on the same planet,
It's still on Earth. And then when he leaves at the end of the movie, that's where he ends up somewhere else. Because remember, the kids are like, which planet is Earth? And he's like, it's that one.
I don't know. That was kind of confusing.
It's a further future than the what would you call it?
Neo-Seoul.
And this one it's Tom Hanks again. Like, all these actors are in every single timeline, but they're all connected by either what they're actually doing, their moral decision. It's also represented by the tattoo of the comet on most, or not. Yeah,
there's a birthmark of a comet that's on, and it's not the same actor every time, but you understand through that it's the same person. It's the same, I guess you would call it soul, or it's the reincarnation.
Yeah, there's a lot of reincarnation in this. That's a major theme.
So you always have that person with the comet, and then you always have their antagonist.
Yeah.
Who's played by somebody different, of course, and then you always have their friend, that person who helps them through the trials that they're going through.
Yep, and the makeup on them to try to make them look different at times looked really good. You know, they really did a good job in making them fit in each time period, and a lot of times they do a race swap. They'll turn some of the actors into Asians, or they turn the one Asian actress into white character.
From Europe, white European.
Halle Berry into an Asian. And they do a lot of this. Some of it works really well, and some of it looks awful. That's one of my complaints on this. It's they tried a bit much. Like, it was a big jump for some of these. And when we're watching the credits, when they show every single actor and all the parts that they played in every story, there was a couple that were like, oh, there was one or two that I was like, I didn't even know they were there. But then some of them, especially like the one guy that plays the big lady in the hospital, it's like, you know it's a man, but it just doesn't look right. Like, Mrs. Doubtfire looked more like a woman than this guy. So when the makeup is good, it's good. When the makeup is bad, it's terrible.
Right.
But overall, the story was good. You liked it. You liked it a little bit more than I did. I felt at some parts.
It didn't line up in some parts. I will give it that maybe if I watched it again. Like, I really, and I haven't taken a chance because I've been working to sit down and really analyze it. Because the whole theme of the movie is your body and your actions are not your own. And the decisions you make in your past are going to ripple down into the future. And I did think they did a fantastic job of connecting everything. So, you see traces of everything particularly, and what I loved is when you're in the future, which is you have two different races of people. You have the island people who live like you just went back in time. They live in huts and everything.
Yeah.
And then you have the more advanced race where they have, what did they say, hydrogen fusion powered.
Yeah. Right.
Things, and they come and they visit. But there's one scene where Halle Berry and Tom Hanks are climbing up this mountain to try and get to
what Tom Hanks' interpretation of where their demon of their current beliefs, whatever it was of that time, lived, and it was forbidden to go up there.
But Halle Berry's trying to get up there because their world is dying, and they need to find some way to get to another world because they're not going to survive. But anyway, in one of those scenes, they round the top of the mountain, and you look down the mountain, and it's Neosol, which you just saw as this vast city, and it's just destroyed, and plants are growing over it, and you realize that it's all the same. It's just massively in the future. That was probably one of my favorite scenes. Did like that part a lot.
Yeah, there's something for everyone in each story. There's multiple love stories actually in this, and most of them.
There weren't as many as I expected, though.
From what the trailer made it seem.
Right. The trailer made it seem like it was going to be two lovers who go through this. And it's not. It was really more about friends. It was two friends, and occasionally they fell in love. Yeah. And sometimes one was much older than the other. And they did a great job with it.
Already some Oscar buzz for Tom Hanks. Mm-hmm. Some scenes, I think he overdid it a bit. And you can kind of tell, like, he broke character in some parts, just trying to yell or scream or act hysterical.
Right.
But most of the actors there, I thought they did a really good job. Mm-hmm. It's a good movie. Recommend Cloud Atlas and Argo. Watch both of those. We'll be watching Wreck-It Ralph hopefully soon. That premiered this weekend. And politics.
Moving on to everyone's favorite subject.
Yeah, whoever you're voting for, make sure to go out there and vote. The
6th is voting day, guys.
Make sure to make yourself aware of all the amendments. Know what you're voting for. Don't just go there to vote for the president. If you don't know which one to choose, just leave it blank. Do not cancel out someone's vote just because you don't know where they stand on the issues. Most of those amendments are pretty important. Most of them are for the worse than for the better. So please do some research. Make yourself educated. Do not cancel out someone's vote that maybe put a little bit more work into their decision than you did.
Right. And if you're living out of state from where you're registered to vote, there's a website you can go to, and I don't know it off the top of my head, but I heard some people talking about it, and you can request an absentee ballot, and they can overnight that to you. So being out of state is no reason not to vote.
If Batman was a candidate, we would be pushing for Batman.
Absolutely. I actually wrote in Batman for a couple of, I think I had 3 write-in spaces where I just didn't like anybody, so.
Yeah, for our state, there was a write-in. We didn't like either of the candidates. It's like, well, write-in, Batman. Because Batman would solve any problem.
Punch crime in the face.
We got this problem. I'll take care of it. Dun, 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 dun. Where's he going? Well, he's going to go solve that problem.
I would love to see his political ads. Because he, would know all the dirt on everybody. He's already got it. He just types it into the computer.
Yep, on the Bat computer.
Yep.
This person did this person did that, this person did this. Vote for me.
He funded this. Yep.
But I think that's all we have this week. And last week. It was definitely a longer podcast than usual.
Super powered podcast.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And make sure to find us on Twitter. The Twitter handle is @ReasonsI'mBroke. Let us know what made you broke this week. #ReasonsI'mBroke. Later on as well, I'll be doing an open box review of one of the statues that we got by Dustin Wynn. It's a Batman Beyond statue.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yep, well, I'll be doing an unboxing of that. Make sure to check that out. Whether or not I recommend it, I'll go over the parts that I did like and I didn't like. This is the Batman Black and White series. I'll put that up on the YouTube channel if you're listening to this on Podbean. Check us out on Twitter. I have a link to our YouTube account from there, our channel. Once again, the Twitter @ReasonsI'mBroke. And that's it, I think. I was Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
Thank you.